Hello everyone, it is the me, Game Penguin 21, and today we're going to be looking at another Harman Smith video. Now this video is a little bit old, it's about a few weeks I think, now that I have been covering other things. There was one other Harman Smith video that I wanted to do, which is earlier in this week, and since I've been moving more towards a 2-video upload schedule. This one I wanted to do because, well, it's quite hypocritical in a lot of sense, and you'll see why in about a few minutes. Now, the reason why I call this hypocritical is because he is talking about Street Fighter 6. Now, Street Fighter 6 is a pretty good game. I'm not the best in like most fighting games. My expertise lies more somewhere in the FPS genre, hence why you're probably seeing like battle bit gameplay, because I've been playing a lot of that game recently. Very sorry, but I'll try to see if I can get more gameplay of other games and stuff like that. But for right now, this game is like the shit. In any case, but he talks about how game journalists giving Street Fighter 6 good and perfect scores is bad because it's biased and it's stupid. Now, a lot of the arguments that he's going to do, you might want to keep in mind this man right here, right? This man loves Nintendo, and I'm fairly certain in the previous video he talked a lot about Breath of the Wild, as well as a Pikmin 4, and a few other games there that he thought would be better. And again, a lot of those games that he listed off, at least in that video, I don't remember the specifics of that video, but he listed off a lot of games, and a lot of those games are off of long-running franchises, and you'll see why that's important in a little bit. In any case, be sure to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. I know I'm trying to do that a little bit more and push the algorithm up a little bit, but you gotta do what you gotta do. In any case, let's get right into the video.
10 out of 10, shrieks IGN. 10 out of 10, says the gaming corporate media. 10 out of 10, says the Capcom page shills. Right now, we are seeing Street Fighter 6, a game that everyone is upset about. The follow-up to the hugely unpopular Street Fighter 5 be...
You might want to learn to edit your video, so there is a cut there too. But I also just want to say something really, really, really fucking funny. He didn't actually do his intro. Quite interesting. I think this is the second video that he hasn't done this intro in. I forget specifically how many videos he doesn't do his intro in. Maybe he's realizing that no one wants to buy his frickin' books. But let me just do his intro for him. His name is Cody Lee of blackhatbooks.org, author of Eye of the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful, Lauren Frey, and the now released Jaw of the Dragon. I think I said that in the last video as well, but let me be clear on this. Don't buy any of his books. I may know his intro by heart, but that's because I review his videos, and it's awful. And also, I do have a video on his actual... website, which we looked at, and again, as a now graduated graphic designer, I can safely say, with all due respect, that website is hot garbage. So if you want to check that out and laugh at something really funny, I think it was like my 500 subscriber special or something like that. Go and check it out. Anyway, we move on.
Given 10 out of 10, perfect scores like candy. If corporate game reviewers are to be believed, this is one of the best games ever made. It's one of the best fighters ever. It's a solid new entry in the iconic Street Fighter franchise, and we know it isn't true, right? We all know going into this that Street Fighter is a dying brand. Capcom is desperately trying to keep it relevant, and they must have just thrown a bunch of money at reviewers to try and get people to buy into the game and play it. And
I love how he uses that as like a thing. We're saying, oh, well, this is just another entry in a solid entry into a long-running franchise, and that it's the best fighting game ever made. Well, I mean, in theory, that's their opinion. If you don't agree with their opinion, it's understandable why you don't agree with their opinion. But again, seeing as how your opinion is very biased, I don't think that we should be trusting your opinion more so than any game reviewer else out there. Just saying.
I think there's going to be a very big dissonance between the actual player base and what critics are saying. I think there's going to be a huge pushback in some regard, like either from like the FGC or the community at large regarding this game. I think the change in direction is so drastic, there is no possible way this game is going to be popular, right? Like, to me, it just seems like the gaming industry is desperately trying to maintain the illusion that non-Nintendo gaming is viable. that it's the big hot thing, and right now they're just desperately throwing money at like everything they possibly can, trying to get something to take off, something to become relevant, something to become popular, so they can use it to weaponize against Nintendo.
You mean like how Elden Ring, you used it as an example because it again won Game of the Year and you're still fucking pissed about that? I don't know, dude. I'm just bringing that example up. I should really stop talking about Elden Ring, to be honest. But there is a new DLC coming in. I do want to hear more about that coming soon. Please be good. But I trust it. I trust them. In any case, you're saying like, oh, you're trying to get the gaming media to be against Nintendo and stuff like that. And this is just the same old fucking argument that he uses throughout the entirety of his video, because quite obviously there is a bias against Nintendo because Nintendo can do no wrong and they make the best games because I say so. I used to do gameplays, right? I used to just play a lot of video games, and I used to upload that. And when I was playing the games, it made me happy, but when I had to upload the videos, it doesn't make me happy. This, when I'm recording, it doesn't make me happy, but when I upload it, it makes me happy. So it's kind of like the inverse. I don't know. Quite honestly, though, this is fucking stupid. Stupid. Anyway, moving on.
Street Fighter 6 is shaping up to be a complete disaster. And we went through this entire hype period, pre-release period, like, that being obvious to everyone, but nobody would admit it. And now that the game is actually out, and now that it's being like showered with perfect scores, showered with praise, showered with acclaim, like it's just ridiculous. Like, why exactly am I going to take Street Fighter 6 seriously after what happened with Street Fighter 5, in which, game journalists who would later go on to admit that they only played the game for about a week, looking at you, Sid and Craig, would go on stage and try to say that, like, oh, Street Fighter 5, it looks exciting, guys. They're not gamers. They're not interested in, like, the game itself. They're interested in trying to sell you a product. They're interested in shilling for Capcom, shilling for this declining video game franchise, desperately trying to get you to buy into it. And I think that gamers should
edit out the pauses and shit, because it'll make the video more entertaining. Hey. I know I pause sometimes whenever I'm talking as well, and I don't edit those pauses out either, but at least I, can... At least I'm at least I try. But in any case, so he's saying that like all these reviewers are biased because they get paid and because they're after the thing and they're not actually gamers. I would tend to agree more often than not if they're like Sony people or something like that. 100%, they tend to be a lot more biased towards Sony games, yada yada yada. Not the point. The point being is that you like. I don't know how to put this to you, Harman, but a person can like different long-running franchises and like different games in those franchises. Speaking from personal experience, by the way, I play a lot of Call of Duty, or at least I played a lot of Call of Duty. I haven't really played a lot recently, and I'm unsure if they're going to release a new thing, because apparently if they do one in November, like they usually do, we haven't seen anything of it. And there was like the big showcases and summer games and stuff, and that's usually where they would show off some stuff, so I am unsure. However, I'm probably not going to buy this year's Call of Duty for a number of reasons. The biggest one being is that I just haven't played the new Modern Warfare 2, and it just feels awful. And if I were to look back at some of the games that I did like, most of the games, Black Ops 2 and down and behind to around World at War, I've played most of those games. And I have to say, I liked all of them. Black Ops 2 is my personal favorites. Black Ops 1 was actually really good. Black Ops 3 kind of completed that nice curve. Black Ops 4 was awful, and again, the wavering of a long-running franchise when it has a ton of sequels, you can actually have differing opinions per game because it shows the competency of whatever developer is working on it at the time, because sometimes long-running video games have different developers and have to switch developers and blah, 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 blah. In any case, like another littler example is Dying Light 1, Dying Light 2. Dying Light 1 was absolutely perfection. B-movie fantasticness. I would give it a solid 8 or a 9 out of 10. However, Dying Light 2 felt more bloated. It just didn't have the same sort of stuff. It felt still a little floaty, but wasn't like the greatest ever. And the sequel itself, they said that there would be a lot more stuff, and it took a fucking while to be able to actually see the, quote unquote intro of the game for Dying Light 2, which was supposedly not actually the ending of the game, but unfortunately the video that was shown off when they originally revealed it was actually the end of the fucking game, apparently. And it was stupid. It was dumb. It was just... But I would still rate it a solid 6 out of 10 because it still kept me entertained for a while. I just don't feel like there's enough replayability in there once I got the ending there. So, whatever. Dying Light 1 was awesome. It was supported for a while. So I would say that if they support the same thing and they do the same thing and they fix a lot more of the bugs and stuff and they add some of the DLC, then yeah, I'll hop back into it. Anyway, tangent aside, you can have differing opinions on a lot of different video games, especially if the previous game was ass. You can only improve so much on garbage by, rebooting a lot of the franchises and stuff. In any case, you should know a little bit more about that considering that you're a Nintendo fanboy. Moving on.
Be standing up for themselves. I think people should be distancing themselves from these classic fighting game IPs and drifting away more to franchises that actually respect them, right? The only example of which I can think of is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, right? Mortal Kombat has gone downhill. Street Fighter has gone downhill. Dead or Alive has gone downhill. The Arc System Works games have gone downhill. Why are we not just acknowledging that fighting games have gotten worse? And we don't really need them, honestly. If you want to play a fighting game, you're better off just playing something that's already been released for a long period of time and just playing. What purpose do new fighting games serve?
What purpose does any new video game serve? Usually to update the game engine, update the graphics, update the control scheme, There's a lot of reasons why. I mean, again, speaking from experience, Call of Duty iterates upon iterates, and they usually try to update specific things, fix bugs, quell glitches, most of the time. Not all the time does it work, and then there will also be exploits and things that people will find out. And again, sometimes you just need different mechanics. One of the biggest things that I would never understand, but other people play it regardless, is sports games. They get released every year. Madden, NFL, FIFA, etc. All of those sports games, I will never fucking understand them, nor will I ever play them. But I will say this, I respect the people that do, because the people that do understand that there are iterations upon iterations of those games, and it's usually just meant to update specific rosters and things like that, because if you were to update the one game for a long periods of time, or to just have the game itself exist, you would have a time capsule. Again, that's good for some people, not so good for others, but they're in the business to make fucking money. And when a video game gets old and stale, time to probably release a new game to make more fucking money. Because, again, this is a business, Harman. Business. Moving on.
They're not expanding the lore in any meaningful way. They're not expanding the gameplay experience. They're not innovating. They're not doing anything. I would rather just play Super Smash Bros. Ultimate forever and just get better at it with different characters, with the characters I already like, on different stages, with different rule sets, with different functionality. What exactly am I looking for? What exactly would I get out of a new fighting game? I would much rather play one fighting game, stick with it, and enjoy it for as much as possible. There is no reason to continue releasing these endless sequels to Street Fighter.
Right, because Street Fighter is the only one that is very bad at this. Again, speaking as someone who is a Nintendo fanboy, surely you must understand how hypocritical that is, especially considering that you are bringing up Smash Bros. Ultimate, which I believe is the 5th or 6th game in the actual Smash Brothers series. I believe it's either is it the 4th game? Smash, Melee, fucking, what the fuck was it? Smash, Melee, Brawl, Ultimate? Smash Melee, Brawl, Smash Brothers Ultimate? Is that how it goes? Whatever. It's another game and another long-running franchise that started on, I believe, the N64, now that I think about it. Quite interesting. So yeah, obviously, that means that game is the best because it is the longest running, I guess, and somehow respects it by putting Minecraft into the game. How does this work? Like literally, how does this work? Because you're saying that a franchise that actually respects the fan base by, taking down entire tournaments because of emulation, suing and pursuing emulation suppression so that way their games don't get played and stuff, trying to resell you old-ass motherfucking games on your system for an exorbitant subscription fee. Still selling 13-plus-year-old hardware and not iterating on it at all. What the fuck, Harman? What the fuck? Well, in any case, I think that'll about do it for today's video. Quite honestly, Harman's the biggest fucking hypocrite in the world for a number of reasons. But I think that really goes to show you he's just fucking salty about Street Fighter 6 not being anywhere that he can play it and stuff like that, apparently. Because he apparently still has a really powerful gaming PC and stuff like that. Sure, bro. Picture it didn't happen. In any case, I think that'll about do it for me. Remember, like, comment, favorite, and subscribe, and do all the stuff that all of those YouTubers do. Links to every other social and stuff down in the description. Kind of push that more, because I actually do want to get monetized, because they lowered the monetization standard, so yay! I do also have a Patreon, but I don't really update it. But you can support me there, or buy some of my stuff. In any case, my name is GamePenguin21. Harman needs to learn to shut the fuck up, and peace.